Welcome to Tim's Antique Trains. Today we are going to see how I clean and wash my American Flyer cars. I have found this technique to be safe and does not harm the paint or lettering on the cars, but does do a good job of removing dirt and some grease from the surfaces. It works equally well on metal and plastic cars. Let's get started. First, I don't want to clean the metal frames of the cars to minimize the possibility of them rusting. So let's remove the shell from these cars. The screwed-on shells are much easier, but most of them are held together with these tiny pins. You will have to remove them in order to get the body apart. I found that a sharp tool like a flush cutter works pretty good. I'm sure there's better tools out there, but this works for removing the pins because the sharp edge can get underneath the small head of the pins and gives some leverage to pry it up. More often than not, I have found these pins to be stuck pretty tight and will take some elbow grease and patience to remove them. Be careful you don't poke yourself and don't squeeze too hard. You don't want to cut the pin, just pinch it and pry it up. Now we are ready for the cleaner. I found this Method brand of cleaner works very well on the plastics. It is naturally derived, so it is not going to harm the paint or the lettering on the cars, but it does do a good job of removing surface dirt. I'm going to spray directly onto the car and let it soak for a while. Now I'm going to spray all the cars. This hopper car has screws holding the trucks on, so I'm going to remove them. Set them aside and don't lose the screws. These cars have riveted trucks. Try to avoid spraying the trucks. This caboose has pins to remove. This one is a bit tricky because the shell was stuck to the frame. I had to gently pry it apart even after the pins were removed. Now I can clean the shell just like the other cars. The cleaner does not harm the window plastic. Now I will scrub the surfaces to dislodge all the dirt. My scrub brush might be a little stiff, but it works fine as long as you don't scrub too hard. The toothbrush is great for the corners and small spaces. After I recorded this video, it was recommended to me to use a horsehair brush, which should be much gentler on the cars. Repeat the scrubbing for all the cars. Just to clarify, I am being very gentle when scrubbing over the letters and numbers on the cars. You can't really tell just from the video. I don't want to ruin the lettering. Finally, it is time to rinse off all the cars. Do not use too much water, just enough to wash away the soap and dirt. You may have to rinse and repeat the process if you discover you missed a few places. Once you are satisfied with their cleanliness, set the cars aside to dry. You may notice that cleaning the cars this way doesn't remove the white substance on some of the plastic parts like the wheels and link couplers. Removing that requires a different method which I will cover in a different video. I will also go over cleaning and degreasing locomotive parts in a future video. When the cars are drying, keep an eye on them and turn them over so the water can evaporate from the top and bottoms, and make sure they are not starting to rust. If you want, use a paper towel to wipe off the cars to remove most of the water. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching Tim's Antique Trains.